Figma. Figma is a UI UX tool that is often used to design websites or apps. I will be learning Figma in 14 days. The goal of this challenge was quite simple: to learn how to use Figma, learn the basics of UI and UX design, to be able to design websites and apps. And to do so, I'll be trying to design websites or app every day. Day 1. I tried to work on how the Figma works. And actually, Figma is very similar to Photoshop, but just made in a way so that it's a combination of a Photoshop and CSS. Just like Photoshop, if I just wanna make shape, I can just click the rectangle or click R and just make rectangle. Just like rectangle, I can just make circles, and if I want to put this in frame, I can just put it in. It's pretty simple. However, everything comes a little bit more complex, or in a way of CSS, if you put them in an auto layout. You can put them in vertical or cover, like it gives the freedom in Figma, which is completely different to what you experience in Photoshop. In this activity, I tried to work on practicing on making a responsive website. I've not only learned how to make each component of the website, but also a way to make fully responsive site which looks good in any ratio of screen size. So if you see this now, you can see that my web design I've done is highly responsive, that it can fit into any screen size that there are. No matter if I put this in PC or MacBook, it will fit, and that's why I've tried to make a responsive website. For day 2, I tried to work on the wireframing of a website. If you see, it kinda works like an app. Wireframing is a way to design a website at a structural level, and it's interactive, so you can like it, and if you want to go back, you can go back. So this is the wireframe I've made on day 2. Day 3. Day 3 is when I actually got my hands on to my actual practice of Figma. And as you can see, I copied the Samsung website and I made whatever on the right. So it works like an website. The carousel doesn't work because I couldn't be bothered to link it in, and there are some empty pages, and the images are gone because I didn't put them in. But the cool thing about this is that it's interactive. Day 3. This is the website I've made, and it took me around 2 days to finish this design, and I spent around 2 to 3 hours per day. I produced my design for this website according to the stakeholders' needs for the first time. My stakeholder was my brother. He asked me to make a website to find the tallest or highest place in New Zealand. For the font, I actually used a mix of Robotoflex and Inter for the fonts. They're similar but different, so I thought that they will give good harmony with each other. The unique thing about the thing I've made here is that I layered it to give the sky-like background. It's this thing I've made. It's, as you can see, there's a bunch of components, and if you look at the prototype, I've made animation. It basically means that using this bar here, you can control whether you want to find the highest place in building or mountain or bridge. And I made it fully interactive. So if we look at the final website, it changes interactively. Gorgeous. There were some challenges I faced. Like, since it was almost my first time making my own design, I went through some difficulties and hardship, like I don't know what color to choose, I don't know what design to reference on, and because it was my first time, I just didn't know anything. I just went to a bunch of other websites and tried to copy their design. That's how I got to it. And overall, I am quite satisfied with the design I've created. Day 4 is this Nike website I've made. The left side is the original Nike website, and the right side is the design I've made. It looks the same, right? Yeah, because I copied it. It took me around 2 hours to make, and thankfully, this time I was actually granted a chance to teach one of my friend how to use Figma. I felt like the best way to learn is through copying other design. And yeah, if you look at it closely, it just looks exactly the same, because that was my goal. If we look at the text here, you can see that I've saved the text, like header text, navbar text, and paragraph 1. And like, it might not be important, but if I change this, nothing changes. What the? So for this website, the one thing I wanted to keep was the consistency, and the consistency can be kept by using, like, saving the text style for every font. So as an example, this winning isn't for everything and how to shop Nike in New Zealand. They're supposed to be same font, right? And so when I first make this font, I save it, text, and then I can reuse the same font. And the reason why it's so important is because I can change them in the library, and every property, that every component that has this font will change together by it. And if you preview it, this website honestly looks really good, because I actually just copied it. Today I tried to redesign CNN website. CNN is a news company widely known for its horrible UI and UX design, and I wanted to have a good go correcting it. So with my knowledge, I tried correcting the CNN news website. One of the issues I observed from this website was that the UX was horrible. There was so many writing without anything separating themselves, which made me lose track of when the writing ended, or which writing belonged. The readability was horrible, and just by looking at the homepage, I wanted to go out of the website. Another thing was navigation. The navbar on the top tells me nothing. I don't get why they made the hamburger menu and more at the same time. Since I am not the type of person who watches news every day, so when it comes to good UI and UX for news, I don't know much knowledge about it. So I went researching to see if there are any good news websites. Google News actually has decent UI and UX, and unlike this freaking website, it actually categorized it and separated it with frame. So I at least can read, even though it doesn't look as nice. So I tried working on the navbar, which I actually didn't really like on the original website. So I removed the hamburger menu and made the CNN logo to go to the top left so that it kind of highlights. And I wanted to make it so that all the things that CNN website is trying to bring from this hamburger, which there's so much thing. I'm planning to make everything to pop out when more comes out, like if user click more. Like, this website is white and navbar is black. I don't like how the difference it makes, so I made the navbar white as well, and made the background to be kinda grayish color, so that it kinda separates the container from the background, so that user can actually focus their eye on each containers. the one thing I've tried to do, as I've said, readability is the key. You can't read anything here. So I hooked every contents with individual container, making user to actually focus on one thing. And I added image for each news, so it does take more. So user will it will take more space, but it's better than just out as soon as you see the news site. That's what I tried to work on. I tried to make the news website at least usable. I wouldn't say this is the best website for news, but still, I think it's better than the original website. I am quite, at least a bit satisfied with design. Like, you can read the contents, and even I categorized it by global news, random news, and it still kind of works better than the original site. Day 8. When it came to day 8, I just didn't design with Figma anymore. I don't know why, but I just lost interest. And so I was looking at to-do list, and I felt like, why not just make a user flow for a to-do list? And this whole thing, it took me around 3-4 hours, and I just tried to make it so user flow, so that it goes from user can log in and put their email. If I put my email, you can put your name, and if you put your name and password, you can use the app. That's the basic user flow of most of apps or to-do list. There's a website called moving.com, and I can get so many designs from it, and UI elements, flows, text and screenshot. I can just reference them in so many ways. Now that I know this, I just try to get inspiration from other websites from here. Another website I realized while I was doing this activity was real-time color. This is gold. This is really good. I can just randomize some color to find the type I want, or I can just change the color and see if it matches. So I randomized some wheels, and I tried to find some good color. And if you look back in here, this is the color palette I got from that randomization. And look at it. I honestly really like this color palette. So as I've shown you, if I just continue with my email and put the email, I can put my name, sign up, and ta-da! I can use my to-do list to actually start doing some work again. I'm a great fan of PV tech and electronics, and I often spend hours and hours shopping in this website or iShopping, and I realized that after I learned UI and UX design, I looked at it again, and from the navbar to the promotion page to the card, I just didn't like any of them. The navbar, I just don't get why they added this color, because nobody clicks it, and because it uses darker color, it make my eye go to this spot, and the truth is, it's useless. So it's basically distracting the users. So what I thought of was, why not just delete all the top part and make the bottom part to have that color, so that it highlights something actually useful. And the other thing that I didn't like about it was the promotion page. They have 5 promotions, and none of them are eye-catching. I go to PV Tech every time. As a user, I don't click those promotions. It's just waiting there. It's a dead space. And just make one bigger than the other so that it kinda look like a hero image and make the website look more aesthetically pleasing as well as actually advertised. And look at what I've made. I made it huge. I made it gigantic. And instead of the small thing they used, I made a carousel which highlights this whole one advertisement. And if you click this, or every 5 seconds, it will change. The one feedback I got from my friend was that this type of design won't show all the promotion at once, and users who are not interested in this thing will, like, the whole thing will be just a waste if they are not interested in the main big thing. And for other users, even though it's not eye-catching, it might include like the promotion they want, and I'm basically wasting their chance to see the promotion, and that's quite valid. So at this from this design, I learned more in depth about UX design, and now I should actually research beforehand so that I can actually make better design. For this section, I was trying to make a digital diary app, and it took me around 6 hours in total, and it took me around 2 days. The goal was quite simple. I was trying to get a good habit of writing a diary every day, and I realized that there was no good digital diary app out there. So I was like, why not just make one? The thing I wanted to make was like a cross-platform diary app where I can write on the computer as well as my phone, and it's cross-platform, so it should be saved on the cloud. When it comes to digital diary, I actually think that mood search is like really fun, like important tool. So I tried adding mood search, like library to track down all the things we have wrote. And yeah, I added the friend session so that you can kind of see each other's friend's diary. If you don't like it, you can just disable it. But yeah, that's what I've made. And honestly, I don't like the design. I feel like it's too, because I put everything on the left, it just doesn't feel balanced. So next time I think I'll try to organize more time planning it. I'm honestly a big fan of webtoons, and I felt like the webtoon site is too everything is too clustered, so it's kind of hard to track down what webtoon to read. So I was thinking maybe we should categorize them by series. So I made a UI UX design site for the Superstring series. If you know what that is, then and I wanted to give like a book feel. If you look at this website, it's all like made because it's showing in tilted way, it kind of looks better. I wanted to give that feel, and the one way I was able to tilt the flat image, being fast isometric. So if I use like a basic image and give fast isometric, it kind of tilts the image. So I did the same for all this, and then I tilted it and made it gray, so it kind of looks like a book cover, and I added like a shadow, so it kind of seemed like an actual book. And overall, I'm actually proud of this website. It actually looks good. This took me 2 days, so it's basically my last project that I made. And for this task, for all the previous tasks, I felt like the lack of quality came from lack of planning. So I planned a lot, from brainstorming to briefly getting the idea, sitemap, and another brainstorm because I actually realized that this plan is impossible, and this plan was also not possible to achieve. So I went through like other planning, and then I actually this time, unlike other times, I actually made like a sitemap, so like a rough design, and I actually made the actual like app. It works. The design, I wanted to give like a to-do list plus Instagram plus Facebook groups, but I couldn't really add Facebook groups to this because I don't have time. But yeah, when people are in the focus mode, like this will glow red. If they're in break, this will glow green, and if they're doing nothing, it will like glow nothing. And how do you know that people are studying? Because we have Pomodoro, where like you can just press start to start studying, and when they finish, they can take like a 10-minute break. And when it comes to studying, like really good tip for studying is time boxing. So I also added a time boxing system into this app. So you basically got everything. You can plan it. You can like write all the tasks first, and all the tasks will be loaded here, and you can just drag your loaded task into the like time zone you want to study. Then you can basically plan your whole day. Isn't it quite good? And since you're doing it with your friends, like you will be more motivated. I'm actually really happy about this website, like I mean the app, and like I actually want to make this because I want this. Through this 14 days challenge, I've learned a lot. From a person who had no knowledge in Figma or what UI or UX design is, to a person who can just design an app or web if I want. For so long, I wanted to design web or apps. I've learned HTML, CSS to make a website, but my website didn't look good, and also now I kind of forgot about all the knowledge. And for so long, like all the apps out there in the internet, they cost money, or they are just not good enough. So I wanted to make apps to solve them. And I also had a lot of my friends who has their own problem, and there were no apps or apps that actually can solve their problem. And now, I feel like I can just make it for them. Like before, I felt like making an app or web or app is really hard task that's almost impossible for a beginner like me to make. However, now I feel like I was wrong about myself. Like honestly, like if I combine my computer science knowledge to the design skill I've learned, I think I can surely just be a full stack developer and start making apps or webs from scratch. I'll take a step ahead from the knowledge I've learned from this task. I'll try to make a full stack app or web, like from database to like all the design, and I'll try to publish them. I hope I get to actually make them, and if I do, I'll post this on YouTube again, so please stay tuned. Thank you.